Take and in speaking with Ruth Porat, she really singled out the strength in mobile search as well as YouTube in terms of driving the momentum here.
Yeah, you know, I think mobile's the big driver here. That's kind of the headline. I think that's why you see increase in clicks and also a decrease in cost, in aggregate cost per click. You know, I think that's been the big driver, the big storyline for Google for some time now.
Now, what about what's going on with YouTube? You know, we talked about Adpocalypse earlier this year, whereby the Times did a big investigation into extremist content that was shown next to some very prominent advertising. A lot of advertisers pulled their campaigns. It seems like those advertisers have returned. I did ask Ruth Porat about this, and she reiterated that revenue across the sites was strong. That benefited in particular from mobile search and YouTube. We continue to take very seriously this issue, and we are doing all we can to protect the ecosystem. We've already written a lot about.
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of advertisers made a lot of noise about this, obviously, but they also liked the advertising that they liked the traffic, the overall that Google was giving them in terms of clicks from their ads. I mean, the Google ad is like nothing else in the history of advertising in that you actually can see the result of an ad as it runs. And the advertisers obviously like that because it's where they're shifting their ad dollars to. So to the extent that advertisers actually pulled ads a year ago, 9 months ago, it actually is probably good news for Google now because they've fixed what little problems may have been there. I say little problems, extreme content is a serious problem, but I don't know how big these ad problems really were for these advertisers, and it looks like they're all back. None of them stayed away for good. So I think what's interesting here is that it actually might make the comparison numbers look better for Google going forward.
Now, Colin, there's these ongoing investigations in the EU. We had this big $2.7 billion fine. Google is still trying to decide whether or not they're going to appeal here. How concerned are you about future investigations?
Yeah, I think from an advertiser perspective, there's lots of concerns. You know, obviously the YouTube scandal earlier in the year, and now the ruling from the EU, from the Competitive Commission, doesn't really help an advertiser's stomach when going to invest in advertising on Google. How do you know that your ad's not going to get placed in a position that you don't want it to be? And how do you know that if you're buying things like product listing ads or the shopping ads, that it's not being skewed against you? So there's obviously some issues, but I kind of agree with Cory that I think this was a good thing for Google. I think in the long run, with advertisers pulling out, and Google's able to identify, you know, what do we have to do going forward? What do we have to work on to kind of instill better trust in our advertising partners?